Hey guys, welcome back to Just Feeling Barbecue. Today I'm going to do my first video on the Silverbac. I'm going to do a Boston butt and I'm excited about it. I'm anxious to see how it's going to turn out. And there's a couple things I'm going to be looking for during this cook to see how the grill performs and that kind of thing. I'll talk to you about that a little bit more as we go along. So stay tuned. First I'm going to get this Boston butt doctored up with some rub. And then we'll get the grill going. All right, guys. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna here's the fat cap. Now I got this. I need to give a shout out to Mike's Meats over here in Claxton, Georgia. They always have really good looking Boston butts. It's a decent fat cap, but it's not too much. I haven't even done anything to it yet. But there's always a good combination of fat and meat. Not too much fat, but enough that it gives it great flavor. And it's good for good barbecue pulled pork. So I like getting my Boston butts from there. They always have good prices on them too. But the first thing I'm going to do with this fat cap is I'm just going to cross hatch it a little bit so that some of this rub and oil that I'm going to put on it can get down into the meat some. So I'm just going to cross hatch it across. Not too deep, but deep enough where it gets to the meat. Just like that. All right, now I know a lot of people use mustard on these things, but for me, I've just never done that. I always like using olive oil. So I'm just going to take a little bit of olive oil, squirt on here, rub it down, and this is just going to be a binder to help this rub that I'm going to use stick on this Boston butt. It doesn't take a whole lot once you get it going. Then we'll flip it over. And again, I'm trying to keep one hand clean, this one, and one hand with the glove on it is the one that's contacting the meat. So just get it rubbed all over. And now we're going to season it. And again, I'm going to start with the fat cap up as far as putting the rub on it. That way when I flip it back over, all the rub isn't coming off the meat side. Now there's two things that I'm going to put on here today. Last night I cooked two pork tenderloins, and I tried something that I've never tried before. I tried this Fire and Flavor all natural coffee rub. And I've never tried coffee rub before. I've seen a lot of people try it, and I just didn't know how it was going to do. You know, didn't know how it would taste. But I can tell you that it was awesome. And so I'm going to be using that in combination with Grilla Grill's all-purpose rub. After the olive oil, I'm going to go on with this Grilla Grill's all-purpose rub and put a nice coating on it. Now this shaker has some big holes in it, so you want to be careful as far as how fast it's coming out. We'll flip it up on the side. Make sure you get all sides covered. On the ends and the other. All right, now I'm going to use the coffee rub and put on there, and this is going to be giving it a darker color. Hopefully a pretty good bark. Get some in those cracks. All right, now I've got the whole thing rubbed down with that and the Grilla Grill's all-purpose rub and olive oil. And usually what I would do is I would take this butt, wrap it in plastic, put it in the refrigerator, and then let it sit overnight. I didn't do that this time. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing this morning, but we're going to put it on the grill anyway and see how it turns out. I'm sure it'll still turn out great. But that's how I normally do it, is put it in the fridge overnight, wrapped in saran wrap, and let everything kind of get nice and happy in the refrigerator. We're going to let this sit here for a few minutes while I go outside and
like I said before, this is going to be my first video on the Silverbac right here. And there's a couple things that I'm curious about, and one of them is how much fuel I'm going to use on this long cook. I've got right at 20 pounds of pellets in here, and I've got a mixture of cherry and of hickory. So I got a mixture of those two. Hopefully it gives me a good smoke flavor, but also maybe that cherry is going to give me a little bit nicer smoke ring on the meat. But also what I want to see is how much fuel is actually going to be burned on this cook. Now, usually on my gas grill, an 8-pound butt is usually going to take between 8 and 9 hours, but I usually cook it at around between 250 and 275. Today, I'm going to try to knock it down to about 225 and get me some good smoke, at least for the first 4 hours, and then I may kick it up a little bit after that. So this may be a 9 or 10 hour cook, I'm not sure. But that's one thing that I want to see is how much of these pellets are used after the cook's over with. The other thing that I've noticed so far is that, and I've only done 2 cooks on it, but I did chicken and I did some pork tenderloin. And what I have noticed is the heat is different with this natural wood than it is on a gas or on a charcoal grill. And when I say charcoal, I mean briquettes or lump. You know, forget about grills for a minute, but if you talk about your house, heating your house, you know, we have a central heat and air system in our house, but we also have a wood burning stove. And the heat that comes from that wood burning stove just feels different than it does from the heat from the AC unit, or the heat and air unit. And it's kind of the same thing. The heat that you get from that gas grill or that charcoal grill is a different kind of heat than you get from cooking with this wood. And last night, those pork tenderloins that I cooked, probably the best tenderloins I've ever had. And I've been cooking pork tenderloins on my other grills for a long time, and they're good. They're really good. But the pork tenderloin that I got off of here last night was as tender and as juicy a tenderloin as I've ever had. Maybe it was just that cook. We're going to see how it does with a Boston butt. But I just think the kind of heat that is produced from real wood is just a different kind of heat than it is from a gas grill and from even charcoal and lump charcoal. And if some of you have some opinions about that or have experienced some of that too, leave me a comment below and tell me what you think. But I'm fixing to fire this thing up, and we're going to get it started. All right, we're down here at the control unit. I've got it plugged in. That's indicated by the green light. We've got power. I've already got my probe stuck into the probe port, and it's ready to go into the meat once we get the meat on. I'm just going to hit power. It automatically starts up, and it's showing you that because it's blinking, and it's automatically going to go to 350, but I want it to be at 225, so I'm going to hit the down arrow until it gets about 225, and that's where we're going to start this cook. Now, as soon as it starts smoking, producing some smoke, I'm going to go ahead and get this butt on, even if it's not up to temperature. A lot of times these grills will produce a lot of smoke in the beginning before they get up to temperature. And if you want to, you can take advantage of that by going ahead and put your meat on even though it's not up to the temperature that you selected. And that's what I'm gonna do. All right guys, it's literally been 2 minutes and we're laying down the smoke already, and it's only up to 85 degrees. So we're fixing to go ahead and get this butt on and take advantage of some of this smoke that we're getting already. All right, now I'm going fat cap down, and it's at 95 degrees right now, and we're just going to let it roll and take advantage of some of this smoke. All right, we've been going about an hour, between an hour and a half so far. My pellets, I've barely made a dent in the pellets, as you can see. There's a little divot right there, but that's about it. While I'm out here, I'm gonna go ahead and put this meat probe in. This included with the grill. It goes right through this grommet right here on the side. I've added some little sausage just so I can have a little snack while I'm out here. And I'm gonna put it right. Make sure I'm not hitting any bone. That feels pretty good right there. Pull the excess through. Looks pretty good. It's got starting to develop a little bit of bark. Shut it down and let it go. All right, guys, it's 4 hours into the cook. I was going to give you a little update. It's been running at 225 the whole time, and I just want to show you an update on the hopper. Now the auger is right down in there, so that's why all the pellets are going down that way. But if I kind of spread them out, you can see after 4 hours it hadn't really used a whole lot of pellets at all. Now that's running at 225. After about 4 hours, check the meat temp. Meat temp's at 130 internal, and I just cranked it up to 265. And I'm gonna let that run at 265 for maybe an hour or so till I get a little bit more bark on it. But it's looking pretty dang good. I have not spritzed it at all or anything like that, but it's looking pretty good. I normally spritz my Boston butts about every hour with apple cider vinegar or a little mixture of something else and all that, but I have just decided today that I want to see what kind of smoke flavor this thing's going to put on it, so I'm just letting it be by itself. So we'll check it out again in probably about an hour. All right, guys, we are at 8.5 hours. I got the ambiance lights on out here on the patio. We're fixing to check it. And the butt internal is 200 degrees. It's time to pull it. We're fixing to pull it. It's in cool down mode right now. We're fixing to pull it, let it cool down a little bit, and then we're going to pull that bone out and see what we got. All right, guys, we've been letting it rest a little while, but the smell of it has filled the house, and this is as long as I can wait. So we're fixing to just kind of see how tender this thing is. And there's your answer right there. The bone comes straight out, just like that. I'm fixing to pull all of it apart, get it pulled apart and put it in another tray, and then I'll show you how we're going to try it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I've got it pulled apart. First of all, I want to talk about the pellet usage. I mean, it's hard to tell, but I'm going to guess, and I'll guess on the heavy side that I probably used maybe 6 pounds of pellets, and that's for an 8.5 hour cook. So some may think that that sounds like a lot, but really that's about 1.5 sticks of wood. So I've got a wood fireplace here, and just thinking about that when I was bringing in wood a while ago, I had about 5 pieces of wood, and it probably weighed at least 20-25 pounds. So you know, that's a good way to look at it. As far as the cook goes, I couldn't be any happier, and I have never gotten this kind of smoke ring on a butt in my life. I mean, look at that. Solid mahogany colored smoke ring. The whole thing's like that. Beautiful. And that's with hickory wood pellets mixed with some cherry wood pellets. BBQr's Delight is what I was using. So now I'm fixing the taste test. I remember that I had made some salsa verde with some tomatillas and jalapenos earlier in the week.
So I think I'm gonna make me a little burrito with this pulled pork with that awesome smoke ring on it. So I'm just gonna layer it down in here. And I'll try to make a quick video showing you how to make that tomatillo sauce. It's really easy. I roasted that stuff in the oven for a little while and got a nice roast on it. And then just blended it up with a little cilantro. Alright, now I'm gonna go in with the salsa verde. Got about 3 jalapenos in here. Gonna put a little Mexican cream on there. And then go in with a little grated cheese. Let's try it out. Guys, I don't know how it gets any better than that. I don't know what to do for the next video, but I'm gonna figure out something. Until next time, I'll be fiddling.